welcome to Early Access. I'm Katie Whitlock. I am super excited about today's episode. I have people who at least all of you know by name. I have Kelly Cook, Jeff Cook's wife, and I have Becket Cook, their second son.
Yeah.
So welcome everybody.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you.
It's the whole family episode because you've got your cat, we've got our dogs. It's like the whole family.
I literally, so you might hear, anyone who's listening, you might hear cats meowing in the back. That's me. You might hear dogs barking in the back. That's the Cook household. There's just, the whole family is here on both sides.
It's all.
Okay, wonderful. So I'm going to have you both introduce yourself a little bit. What I want to hear from you, Kelly, I'm going to have you go first. I want you to introduce yourself a little bit. Your number, what you do, anything that people need to know about you, kind of where you are in life right now.
Okay. Well, I'm Kelly. I'm the rule breaker because I'm 48.
Ooh.
So I'm like double the age that's supposed to be on the pod. Very old. Not as old as Jeff, though. I am a lecturer at the University of Northern Colorado here in tiny, gorgeous Greeley, Colorado. I teach LGBTQ history, and primarily I train teachers. So I taught high school for almost 20 years, and now I teach people how to teach high school, which I love. It also makes me technically an expert in teenager. And since this is the parent-child one, I will tell you every bit of that goes out the door when it is your own teenager. So I truly am much better at telling you what to do with your teenager than I know what to do with my own teenager. But as far as textbooks go, I've got it. I'm an Enneagram 3, and I feel like, and Katie probably will know this better about me than I will know it about myself, but I feel like I'm a very typical 3 for my age. I think I really exemplify 3. So yeah, and I am the wife to Jeff Cook, and I have 2 incredible kids, Augie, who is 21 and non-binary, and Becket, who is 19 and a boy, and he's on here right there. Augie's an 8 and Beckett's a 5.
So how old, can you do the math for me? How old were you when you had both of your kids?
Yeah, I was 27 when I had Augie and 29 when I had Becket.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm 27. That's crazy. Okay.
I was 22 when I got married. Probably do not recommend, but I lucked out.
Yeah, just pretty great. He sent me the other day, I'm training for a half marathon, and he sent me the picture of you 2 holding hands going across.
I love that picture.
Was it a half or a full? Whatever. But
it was a half. Yep. And actually right after that half marathon, we found out we were pregnant for Augie. So I stopped running for a little bit, because some people can run and be pregnant, and I am not one of them. Yeah. I could not do both.
No, I work at a restaurant. I had a friend who was there. I think she was on the floor until literally like a week before she had her baby. I was like,
some people can do it. And I was like, I was not going to be well if I kept running. My body did not like it.
Yeah. Well, that's lovely. Becket, I'm going to switch it over to you. Tell everybody what you're doing right now.
Okay. Hello, I'm Becket. I'm an Enneagram 5. I'm currently a freshman at the University of Michigan pursuing a bachelor's in architecture. I also am a part of a percussion and performance group called Groove. So if you're in the Ann Arbor area, cool. April 3rd, you should go to our show.
Promos.
While I am a 5, I don't necessarily think I'm a very typical 5 sometimes. So
why not?
Just talking with my dad, at least, I'm very confident, very confident. And that's probably more so like a nurture thing. So, which I guess we'll get into that,
I actually have a question about that right off the bat. Are you confident because you feel like you know what you're doing? Because that sounds very 5 to me. Like 5s, of course you know what you're doing. You're a 5, right? You have all the knowledge that you need to know what's going on.
Yeah. That sometimes is the case, but I'm usually confident because everything's going to work out well. And if it doesn't, well, I guess it doesn't work out well.
Yeah, then
but
whatever.
If it works out well, then whatever. Yeah, so.
I'm going to ask you another question about confidence. When you say you're confident, do you mean you're socially confident as well? I'm
just confident. I mean, yeah, I'm definitely socially confident. I'm just confident as like a base state.
Yeah.
That's
funny. I experienced so this is going to be a fun episode because I said this off the podcast, but you are a 5 raised by a 3, and I'm a 3 raised by a 5. My dad's a 5. And I really, really experienced my dad as super confident too, and socially confident. Like, he can talk to anybody about anything, and he like doesn't feel shame or like all the things, whatever. And so I'm interested, maybe you guys are the same subtype or anything or something, but I don't know enough about that to ask questions about that.
I think I'm a 5 wing 4, so that might be part of it.
That might help. That might help. Okay, so what I want to do, I want to set this up. I'm going to ask Kelly a few questions about parenting, and then Becket, I'm going to kind of have you respond to those questions about parenting, and we'll just kind of go from there, and then we're going to end on some reflection stuff about kind of what it was like to be in relationship with each other, right? So Kelly, I want to start with you. We're going to set up your parenting style. So you're 3. When you look back, because you are a 3, I'm going to start with the struggles. What do you think was your biggest struggle as a parent, as a mom, because you are a 3?
So I'm going to talk about parenting in general, because I will say parenting Augie and Becket is night and day. It's 180 degrees difference. So that is important. And I think of any parents who have more than one kid, it's just unbelievable how much they aren't alike. Even if, I mean, when Augie and Becket were little, people thought they were twins, like all the time. Now they do not look anything alike. They did. And they're very close in age. And so a 3 thing, I mean, I know it doesn't have to fit in the Enneagram box, but I'm going to tell you a huge 3 thing is I wanted to show my children off. I wanted them to, even though I'm a big thrifter and I always have been, like I would buy the things that said Gap on the front, and I would buy the outfits. I wanted them to be in the outfits that I thought made them look very cute. And I really, and by the way, my mom passed away in 2015. So we were I think Jeff was just starting Enneagram stuff around that time. So we didn't have Enneagram knowledge, but we look back and kind of think she was probably a 3. She really has some 3 things. So I might've been a 3 raised by a 3. So the show off your children thing was huge for me growing up. And I was absolutely in that spot, but I was happy to do it. I was happy to be somebody to show off. So I will tell you very honestly, and something, if you go back and say, what would you also change? I think I would have changed that as quickly as I would have understood it, that I wanted to show my children off. I wanted them to be cute and adorable and sweet to everyone and have the best manners. And I definitely pushed everything they did towards that end. So a lot of parents, especially nowadays, have a little bit more thoughtfulness about, they won't make their kid hug a stranger. Oh, I totally would have made my kid hug a stranger because that would have made my kid look good. And then I look like a good parent. And I had a lot of expectations about the behavior. And so cut me off or like edit it later if there become too many anecdotes. But like there was Augie and Becket were probably like 2 and 3 years old. We were in the middle of all of the chaos of toddler and having one of the toddlers be autistic and figure that out. And I wanted everybody to set up the Halloween decorations together like a Norman Rockwell painting, and it was going to be perfect family time. And we'd make a little Halloween tree and we put them together. And like immediately, one of the kids broke one of the decorations as we're putting them up, like within 3 seconds. And Jeff was like, you can have cute Halloween or you can have your kids do an activity, but I don't think we can have both. Yeah. And that was kind of, I was always trying to have both. I want it to look good. I want it to be idealistic. I want it to be very show-offy. Neither Becket nor Augie are about mom making them show off.
Right.
But they did grow up in a household where it took a long time for me to let go of that. And I'm positive there's still parts of me that have not let go of that.
Becket, do you remember what your mom's talking about? Do you have experiences of her wanting to show you off to other people?
I mean, not necessarily show off, but like look good to other people. So like the politeness, the manners when you're at other people's houses, I remember a lot. Like on the car ride over, it's like, okay, well, when you finish eating, you're gonna ask what you can do to help, so that you don't. And sometimes she'd also point out like other kids and like what not to do. So
very judgmental.
Yeah. What's that comparison that we have for sure?
Yeah. You want to be the kid that isn't invited over every time, by the parent, like the parents are enjoyable to have you over. So that definitely, but I also do very well with like being told what to do. So I didn't really have any issues with it. As opposed to like, I know I mean, specifically Augie does not do well with being told what to do. But if I don't have to think if you tell me what to do, because then I'll just do what it is. And so like the bluntness definitely could help sometimes. And I think I'll say you definitely learned from Augie that you shouldn't be blunt all the time. But if you had been more blunt with me, I think it would have been better. Because sometimes it's like, especially say with my chore in the house was to do the laundry. And if mom comes into the room and says, okay, can you get the laundry done at some point today? It's not getting done at some point today. But if she comes into the room and says, go do the laundry right now, the laundry's going to get done right now. The option of choice kind of like hurts my ability to do things. I thought to be part of like the family. Obviously, I think I do fine on my own.
Yeah.
But like when the family dynamic, if I didn't have a choice, it worked out a lot better usually. On the like show off thing, I mean, I was fine with being shown off like in person, like if she's talking to somebody, but like I definitely am don't post me on Instagram unless I approve what you post on Instagram.
Because
I would like to like be in charge of how I'm seen online. And I don't really approve of like, especially like I think with prom photos, it's like, don't post my prom photos. You can send it to like immediate family, but they also need to know that they're not allowed to post those photos either.
Yeah.
Because those are my photos to be posted, which I know mom sometimes will be a little upset about because she wants to show off me, but sometimes I'm like, sometimes it's okay, but I also get to show off on my own,
Right, absolutely.
And I have to give Becket big credit, though. He will say, like he did say, I don't want you to post my prom photos. And so even with a very confident, aggressive, controlling mom, he will say to me, please don't do that. And then I won't do it. Like I will want to be honest. I'm like, well, you guys are so cute, whatever. But he will say it and then he'll put some firm boundaries on it, which is maybe he's learned from having that aggressive parent. I have to tell her what I want here. Or, we took a trip to Chicago a few weeks ago and I made a little video, and I'm sure Becket knows every time I'm taking a picture that probably will go on Instagram because I'm a very Instagram show off free, as I think are millennial Gen X moms like me, But he was like, don't let those stupid companies that tag it and say, let us share it, chicago.com. Like, don't do that, mom. And he will tell me what not to do and then I'll honor it. And so he has a great ability to communicate with me. This is what I want here. I'm going to put this boundary up so that I can do it, because otherwise I'm going to, for the whole family, just make every decision.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
So Becket, I think maybe again has just learned, I better tell my mom what I want. She'll do it even if she's disappointed, but I have to tell her. I can't assume it.
By the way, you are not coming across as aggressive or controlling.
Oh, give me time.
You called yourself this very aggressive and controlling mom. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it is the case that like I'm fine with most of the decisions she makes, but so I'm not like going to be saying no to a lot of things, but I will put like a very strong and clear boundary if I feel like I need to. And I don't have any issues with doing that, like with usually with social media videos.
Becket, do you feel like as long as you understand why she's saying something, you can get behind it, or no?
Usually, yeah. Sometimes I have to agree with the why, but as long as there's like a well thought out reason, I'm usually fine with it.
Kelly, did you experience Becket maybe when he was a young child? Did you experience him as someone who needed to know why you were saying that thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not just, Becket needed to know every why about everything. So our kind of most famous Enneagram story, I think, is when Becket had appendicitis. Yeah. And this might have even been, if there is such a thing as like the childhood wound make sure number, this is his thing. Both having, I mean, honestly, Becket having the sibling that Becket has, and then this. And so Becket has appendicitis. We don't know it.
And
we take him
like
in 3 or 4.
How old are you?
Yeah, about
7 or 8. Yeah,
second grade.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah, so pretty little. Yeah, we take him in 3 or 4 times, and the doctors keep saying he has a tummy ache, he has a virus, he has whatever. Because of the extreme pain of this and being little, I think, and Becket, forgive me because you can definitely correct me on this, but Becket kind of remembers it differently than mom and dad remember it. Mom and dad remember all we are doing is seeking medical care, laying down on the floor with Becket while he's hurting, trying to figure it out. But Becket very much was like, nobody is helping me because they take me in, they're not doing anything for me. And the pain is getting worse and worse. And finally, Jeff takes him like somewhere to another town, to another urgent care to get some different answers. And they take him in for emergency surgery. And, you know, it was, he just really suffered through that whole thing much more than he needed to, and could have been in really bad shape with the appendix almost bursting. And so I think that sealed the deal of like, you have not told me what's going on. You haven't told me the truth maybe about what's going on, or I haven't understood it. And then I was not taken care of. And so again, like not consciously, I think that he could tell you right now, logically, you told me you took care of me. I hear it. But like emotionally and physically at that time, it was so terrible that really led to everything I have to know, why I have to hear it. And so we've even found with Becket, and I'd love for him to like annotate that appendix story, but Becket gets sick or doesn't feel well, my first thing is like, you look it up and you tell us what you want to do. You know, if he says, I want to go to urgent care, like some parents will be like, well, let's wait and see. I'm like, yep, let's go, because he needs to say how he's feeling about it. And we need to listen. And the only time, maybe like 3 or 4 times in his whole life that Becket had a major meltdown tantrum was thinking people were not listening to him. You are not hearing me. You are not listening to me. And you're not understanding me. And that has, as a child, caused him to just totally melt down. And it almost never happened, but it's like he tipped over, that people weren't listening and they weren't understanding him. And so he's gotten to be very much like, I will find my own knowledge. And that's been great too in some ways. He's took a bunch of 18-year-olds to Japan his senior year, and I helped with literally zero of it. I think I looked over his shoulder at Airbnbs. They got the passports, they got the tickets. He's just like, I will do it. You know, he figured out almost everything he does is on his own because he can research it, he can do it, he's competent. And then sometimes he's like, Mom, will you check out what I've already done and see if it's right and what you think of it? But it's usually completely done before he asks.
Right.
That kind of help.
Becket, how do you remember the appendix story? Is that true that you remember it as no one taking care of me?
Well, I mean, this was, you know, over 10 years ago, so I don't really remember it very well. I mean, it was the most pain I'd ever been in my entire life, so that's not good. That was not good.
How long were you in? Like how many days was that they were? Just
about a week.
A week. Oh yeah. My goodness.
No, it was.
Oh my goodness.
It was like
terrible.
A day before it would have ruptured, and I probably would have died.
That's horrible.
I mean, I don't want to be like morbid about it, but it would have been not good. Yeah, I definitely was very upset because, I mean, we were going into like urgent care or some doctor like every day because of how bad it was, and it got worse every day. And I mean, I wasn't really upset at my parents. I don't think. I was more like just upset that I'm in pain. You know, it's not really anybody's fault at that point, except for the fact that it's not feeling better. Mom might remember this differently, but I don't remember it very well. I do remember being very happy when
when you were done.
I finally got into like surgery.
Right.
And I was like, it's good. And I think I remember hearing about how much the bill was, and then I was immediately less happy. I was like, charge that much?
Yeah.
It's like a tiny organ.
Hello? Yeah.
What do we mean?
You can keep it, actually. Like, I don't need it.
I don't need it.
Yeah.
His doctor made a joke about, like, when we went for the 1 week checkup after the surgery, his doctor made a joke about putting the appendix back in, and Becket did not laugh at that joke.
Yeah, that's not funny, actually. Kelly so I'm thinking about how I would feel if I was the mother in that situation, right? Because you and I are going to be very similar. And of course, I don't have kids. I imagine it, of course, it just feels awful because your kid's in pain and you like, some part of you is going to feel like I can't do anything. I'm like failing as a mother, right? I can't do this. But do you think because you're a 3, you also were super, I feel like I would be so like, what if Becket thinks I'm a bad mom? Right? Do you still, did you feel like that? And do you still like worry about that because of that?
Not because of that. Luckily, I suppose we are super fortunate, the 4 of us. We are just like 4 little peas in a pod, honestly. We have we're excellent at traveling together, for example, and which is strange because we are so different in so many ways. And we have one person who has special needs that traveling is very difficult on. But the 4 of us are like a very fine-tuned machine. And I think we take it more as the aggregate than the singular.
Mm-hmm.
So the one thing is not the big thing. But on that note, I absolutely always, still to this minute, think, do my kids think I'm a good mom? So I'll reveal something that like is embarrassing to me, but it's true, is that this part's not embarrassing. This part's just braggy. Beckett's high school friends think that I am the cool mom.
Uh-huh.
And they like send me little videos and pictures and, you know, cards and stuff all the time, like to be like, you're the best mom. And in high school, they would sing me happy birthday, that kind of thing. It was so glorious. But also keeping the status as the coolest mom, like I couldn't lose that.
Yeah.
And if any mom was even kind of cool, I would hate her guts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like she cannot take my place. So not just being cool though, because I maybe because I work with teenagers as a profession, I don't have an imbalance. I'm definitely the parent. I'm, you know, Becket and I, now that he's an adult, we have much more of a friendship, but I'm still his mom. I don't think he thinks I'm his friend. I think he thinks I'm his mom, who we have a really good time together. So I never had like a problem being the best friend mom, but I always want my kids to think I'm doing a good job. And I would actually really like them to always tell me I'm doing a good job. Mm-hmm. And I will fish or straight up tell them. If I fish and they don't do it, I will tell everyone in the family, everyone, I just did this for us all. Tell me great job. Literally, I will say that. And then they will. But I do, in like a deeper sense, you know, Beckett's away at college and he is completely formulating his own self as an adult and creating these relationships and making these paths and making these choices. And so I will even think like, don't text him too much because you don't want to hem him in and make him feel like he's obligated to you and that he can't go do his own thing and that you're checking up on him. So like I want to text him 45 times a day. I only text him 25 times a day. And I really though will think about it in the way of like, are you doing this right? And will he think you're doing this right? Or will he think you're over encroaching on his freedom? You know, or then on the other end though, if I didn't text him for like a whole day, will he think that I'm not really available? You know, so it's a very hard balance for me sometimes to be like, am I doing this as a capital G good mom? Because that's what I both want to actually be that. And I want my kids to think that about me, that I'm a good mom.
So Becket, I'm going to ask you a question, but I have to tell you a story first. So I am in the middle of an 8-week Enneagram class in Cincinnati right now. And the last week we're just going through the numbers right now. And we spend like an hour and a half on 3 numbers and we just talk about all of them. And last week was about 5s. And we had a 5 in the room. And then we had someone who's married to a 5. And the person married to the 5 said, can you talk to me about sympathy? Like, when do you ever need sympathy from people or empathy, or do you need people to like connect emotionally with you, right? And the 5 kind of was like, no, I don't need that from people. Like, I don't need people to tell me that they like understand what I'm going through or things like that. And so I want to ask you a question. When you see your mother, I was laughing because I do that same thing. When you see your mother doing the fishing thing, like everybody tell me I'm doing a good job. How do you experience that as a 5? Like, were you ever like
what am I fishing for?
No, like, what do you think? What do you think when she does stuff like that?
I think, wow, give mom a compliment. This is the time to give mom a compliment. I'm kidding. I mean, you know, I do think about like what other people need. So like instead of sympathy, usually I need somebody to like just take an action that's going to solve whatever issue I'm having with them. Because I don't really have issues with people, not very often. Yeah. And when I do, it's because they're doing something that they need to act on to stop doing the thing. Like emotionally, I don't usually have issues with people. So I'm not really having, you know, like sympathy issues or need sympathy from other people. Right.
Do you need people to tell you that you did a good job?
I mean, it doesn't hurt to tell me I did a good job. I more like prefer when people like assume I will do a good job, you know? Like I don't even need to do it. I just need people to know that I'm capable of doing a good job. So for example, I was like one of the best students in my chemistry class. And so like around like the 3-month mark or something, and I would raise my hand to answer a question after like, you know, a minute or so. And the teacher would just say, put your hand back down. I know you know the answer. It's like, that's perfect. I didn't need to say anything. You know, I got it. This works.
So I guess I'm wondering, Kelly, go ahead and then I'll ask my question.
I was going to push Becket a little more where I think you wanted him to go, Katie, because, and also give him kind of permission for it. Like, are you annoyed that mom needs to get a thank you mom all the time? Or are you like, gosh, why does she need that? Like, I think that's what Katie's asking when your mom, who's supposed to be the mom, is saying, tell me good job. Is that ever like annoying or frustrating to you?
No, I mean, I only do stuff I want to do. So if I didn't think you did a good job, I probably wouldn't. I would just keep my mouth shut.
That's so fair.
I mean? So to go on to your like texting point is I'm only going to respond if I want to respond. And I've got, I think it's an energy thing my dad talks about with fives a lot. Good at preserving energy. So if I don't want to give energy towards something, I'm just not going to. And this, for example, like I was talking about a class I have right now that has just ended, but the professor is asking there's been some miscommunication, but is asking for more work. And my mom is saying, just do the work. And I'm saying I'm not going to do the work because there was a miscommunication and I'm not going to do the work because I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's like I'm good at just not giving energy where I don't want it. So if I'm ever giving a compliment, it's like, oh, I didn't think about giving a compliment because that's not something I would need.
Yeah.
And I try and do it. I feel like I've gotten better at like looking at what other people are needing in situations. And usually that's different by person, right? Like some people need compliments, some people need actions, whatever. And so I think I've gotten, better at like knowing when to do something, if that helps. Right. Or I don't have issues with it when like somebody's fishing for a compliment.
I think 3 and 5s can look so similar a lot of the time, at least when we're talking about this whole like wanting to be smart and or wanting other people to know that we're smart, right? Like, I think we can look very similar, but the difference, Becket, like you just said, I thought that was phenomenal the way you said that. I hope I say it the way you said it. What did you say where you said, I just want people to know that I can do it? Like the competency part? Kelly, I don't know if you agree. I also want
Katie and I would have to say it out loud, though. We'd have to answer it, too.
Yeah, because
we want you to know, and we're saying the answer.
Right. I want to say the answer in front of everybody so that everybody knew I had the answer. There certainly would be some like pride of like, if the teacher was like, put your hand down, I know you know the answer. I'd be looking around. I'd be like, yeah, she does. Right. Patting myself on the back. And I just wonder as a 5 who does not need that from people, if like growing up, because you guys have a good relationship now and you're a family who talks about things. And so I know you understand why your mom feels that way, but you don't like relate to that feeling at all, right? You do not relate to needing people to tell you that you are good or valuable or things like that. ? Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I need it, like, but it's not like an always present thought, Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like sometimes I need different things at different points. So I can't think of an example, but there is like sometimes I need a compliment would be nice, especially but also sometimes it kind of like gets in the way. Like I know I was in jazz band for a while, and it's nice to hear the first compliment on something, but actually here's a better thing. I need it to be unique. Like it needs to be unique. So like if I hear the same compliment over and over again, it's gonna like wear thin.
Yeah. And
I'm not gonna like it at all. But when I hear something unique or something that I didn't think about, and I'm get complimented on, I'm like that's like high praise, So this kind of like I really enjoy like unique thoughts. So I'll give an example for in my English classes. If I'm raising my hand, I will never add on to somebody else's comment because I think like hitting the same point over is a waste of time.
Yeah.
And if somebody else says something that I was going to say, I will then either lower my hand or I will think of a different thing to say that's completely unique because that adding on to somebody's point doesn't really get anybody anywhere,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so like when I receive feedback, I also would prefer it to also be unique. And so, yeah, that might be a way like in which it's similar, where I like getting feedback, like good feedback, but it's different in the way. I'm sure mom does not dislike hearing how excellent of a mom she is every time.
Yeah. You need it
she
once.
does something good. Yeah.
And then you're good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly, so I'm interested about this. I'm going to ask you from a parenting perspective. Jeff and I talk a lot about, we think about fives very differently. And we think it's because my dad is a 5 and his child is a 5, which is a very different experience of 5, right? Like to have your parental figure be someone who knows everything and can do anything and all the things, right? Versus watching your child grow up as a 5 is very different experience of what it is to be a 5, right? When Becket was growing up, I'm sorry, Becket, I'm sorry if this makes you feel vulnerable in front of everybody. If at any point you want us to stop, let us know. Did you experience, because 5s talk a lot about not having a lot of needs, and I certainly experience my father as someone who does not have a lot of needs. He can take care of himself. As a child, what did you experience Becket needing from you all the most? And did you see his level of need go down as he grew up? Like more than maybe a non-5 child, right? Like, did you watch him stop needing things from the world as he got older, as he grew into his 5? Does that question make sense?
Yeah. Yes, it totally does. It's just, I have like 40 strings of thought. That's the problem. It's like, I could say so many things on this. Becket, so that I know everyone's always going to also be unique. You know, every single 5 is going to be unique. So, and this is just, you'll notice I mention this. I don't know how much Jeff mentions this. This is my confession. I don't really listen to Around Circle. I text Jeff and TJ whatever.
Podcasts.
Okay, good. If I want to know something, I text Jeff and TJ and they have to give it to me on demand. Yeah. So I don't need to listen. That is my privilege for having all of the microphones and all of the recording constantly happening in my house. One, we've spoken Enneagram for a really long time. So let me just say that. And I think that has helped because we have literally said to Becket, your needs are not a problem. Tell us what you need. And what we have noticed, I notice, is unlike our other child, and this is why I'm kind of bringing this up, like you can't talk about our family without talking about Augie. Augie's just such a big part of our family, obviously, and we all are. But because of Augie, Becket has been a third parent many times. So that has been unique to Becket and probably where his needs have gotten buried even more. From Jeff and I have buried them because we're in the middle of like an emergency or a crisis or something very difficult that has to get dealt with that can't wait, that sometimes makes Becket have to wait. And then Becket also has had to be like the third advisor. And to be quite honest, Becket is the best of the 3 parents because Becket does not put up with anything. Yeah, Jeff and I are both too soft and we're enablers at time. And Becket, being a sibling, is like, oh no, we're not doing that. Let's go. Like I've actually heard Becket, stand at Augie's door and be like, hey, we're going bowling with some friends. And Augie's like, well, I don't really want to. And Becca's like, that's okay. Get your stuff. Let's go because it's good for you to get out of the house. Like, I mean, things that just a great parent, but also, so see where I'm stringing this out so many ways. Like Becket has not had a typical upbringing because Becket has had to be in the parent seat of his older sibling so many times and to help in that way and to sacrifice in that way. So on one end, we really have tried, and Becket, please be honest about this. Like we have tried to say, Becket, your needs are not a problem. And we've tried to do some things that are for Becket that are not for Augie and some things that are for Becket that make up for all of the Augie time and energy that has happened. You can't fully make up for it. There's not a sibling of a kid with a special need that doesn't have a very unique story about what they've had to sacrifice and what they didn't get to do. And when they left Chuck E. Cheese on their own birthday because their sibling couldn't stay, like they have those stories. And I also think because I'm a 3 and an optimist and a bright sider, I'm like, wow, this has shaped you in such incredible ways. Even the hard stuff, you have learned and grown and become such a much better person because of this really hard situation. So there's a lot to be gained from it, but there's much more that's been sacrificed. And so with Becket, again, forgive me for like going all around this big way, but he has never been able to have all his needs ever. Not even as an infant sometimes his needs did not come first. So he's actually learned to figure that out, and maybe has at times felt neglected and sad and left out. And then also, as we learned Enneagram, we got much better at saying, Becket, tell us what you need. No, really do. Really tell us what you want here, and pushing him to understand that. And I think at this point now, he's much better at it. So an indelicate example is that when he finally, did this incredible, huge accomplishment, gets into the University of Michigan, which is like a really top school in the United States, we're moving him out there. He was just like, I want to go out by myself with you two, because, and he did not give any of the subtext for this, but because one, he's never had anything that was just about him in his whole life. And two, we might be at some orientation tour meeting, and if Augie can't make it through, now Becket doesn't get to do the thing he finally worked so hard for and finally got. And so happily, Augie stayed home. We all made it work. It was great. But like, I don't think a non-Enneagram household, let's talk about our feelings for the last 10 years and let's really understand each other, kid who's a 5 is going to know to say, no offense, but I want to go out by myself for this big thing I earned.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what he said. And I was like, absolutely, we're doing it. Let's do it. Thank you for saying what you need. But that is years of work to get to where I think he could say that and know that that was okay to ask for. I hope that's a very big answer to that.
No, I think that, Becket, did it feel big to ask for that, or did it just feel like, I want to go with you?
No,
too?
It felt pretty normal. I think the bigger thing was like asking to go to University of Michigan as an out-of-state student. Yeah. So definitely, they definitely saw how much I worked for it, and that was a pretty big deal. So I'm sure part of that, and I'm sure there's also part of it where it's like, well, you've had the short end of the stick sometimes, like growing up a lot. So, we're not going to force you to go in state because it costs an arm and a leg to go out of state, right. And like, we'll make it work somehow. And so that was big. As you said before, I don't really have a lot of needs. I do just fine.
I think that's what you think, Becket.
Okay. Well, it's like I don't need a lot from other people.
Yes.
That's more what I mean. I don't have any, like, I think I'm significantly more efficient now that I'm out on my own. Like, I just am able to take care of all the stuff I need. And I don't have any, like, I don't have to do anything or get anything from somebody else. And so that is a very nice part about living on my own. Right. I'll say, I know my mom loves me back, but I kind of like being, and like when I go next year, when I have my apartment, I'll have my own room. So I'll be like extra single stable,
Let me tell you, it's the best thing ever. It is the best thing ever.
Yes.
The 2 years after college where I lived in my own apartment by myself, nobody else was there. Awesome. I'm sure as a 5, it'll be great.
I'll have roommates, but like not having a person who lives in the same room as me, that's really more what I mean by no roommates.
Yeah, fair. Agreed.
Like, okay, we live in the same apartment. I can also just not see you ever. So it's,
it's perfect.
If I really didn't want to. But yeah, so like the needs kind of, I feel less needy on my own. Mm-hmm. That kind of helps. And I think growing up, I was like a lot more flexible. And I think my type might have helped because I didn't have like so many needs. Mm-hmm. I was never, here's an example. Like we would go to parties as families or like events, and I was never the person who was the reason we were leaving an event. Can you think of any events where I was like, okay, I need to go now? But I was always down to leave whenever everyone else was, you know?
You never put up a fuss about staying.
Maybe when I was like a lot younger, but after like a certain age, I would just stop making up a fuss. And I became a lot more flexible, I think. And it definitely, like the not needing a lot helps with flexibility.
That's okay, I've never heard a 5 say that, and I think that's a really, really good point. Because what I was thinking is, out of all the numbers to be in this situation that you're in, right, with a sibling with a special needs, is like, I think one of the superpowers of 5s is, if this makes sense to me and I understand why it's happening, I'm kind of okay. Like you said, you don't have that many needs, you're okay to go. I imagine maybe being a 5 was positive in that space, or at least was a help for you, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just me, so
Yeah.
it is what it's gonna be how it is whenever we're in a situation. I'm sure if I was a different type, it might have been more of a fuss sometimes.
Yeah.
But definitely and I think I'm the only one of our family who like gets active when stressed. I think everybody else gets secluded, right? So what 5, 1, 1, 3, 8, and everybody else gets, so like when things are going bad, I'm getting active. I'm like, okay, everything's bad. Let's move on.
What are we gonna do? Yeah.
We're all upset. You want to know how we're not going to be upset? If we stop being upset. The most efficient way to not be mad at each other is to stop being mad at each other. So,
my favorite like Becket solution of the youth was just give Augie back the video game. Just hand him back the video game so we can stop what's happening right now in this household.
And it was incredibly effective. So, I mean, hey.
And it worked. Okay, I want to switch to because I started this whole thing out with, Kelly, what was the worst part of your parenting? And I want to switch it over to the positive side. So I'm going to ask Becket, actually. So I might make you think of this on the spot. What do you think, when you think of the way your mother specifically, not your dad, right? When you think of specifically the way that your mother parented you, again, maybe not even Augie, what do you think the best thing that she did while parenting you was, or the best trait she had, or whatever, right?
Yeah, she was very strict about how we interacted with other people, especially adults. And I genuinely think it's like a superpower of me talking to adults. Like, I mean, I know I'm an adult now, but like
people our age,
30 plus year old. Yeah, I think I am very good at talking to other people's parents. I have, decent manners when eating. So I think like being strict about how you interact with other people definitely was a plus.
It sounds like she prepared you very well to be your own person, maybe would you say it like that?
Yeah, I would say that.
What do you think it is about her that made her good at that?
Well, probably that she had all this training from her mom.
She did say that earlier.
And so it's like, okay, yeah, so my mom had us do this, and I'm letting you guys off the hook. I'm only telling you to do, my mom would whoop me if I didn't have the right number of forks on the table.
Yeah.
You need to, and so if you only need to do this like bare minimum, or like be a good host, I think was a big thing. Like when other people are over, it's not just their house, it's our house. And so you got to be a good host to the people who you're having over. Definitely helped.
So I'm wondering if that was helpful for you specifically. One, because I agree with you, like young kids just aren't good at that. But two, do you think you would have thought about how you are coming across to other people if you didn't have that, if your mother was not telling you that?
I mean, probably it would have taken longer, I think, to think about that. Like around the time I started, like this is weird, but like my dad always comments about my fashion, because it seems like 5s don't really care about fashion all that much, but I sort of do. And I think about that time, so this is like 15 or 16, I started caring about it. I probably would have figured it out around then, like how other people like are how I'm interacting with other people, or how I'm being seen by other people, because that's like something you can get good at and you can learn about. So I probably would have learned then on my own. But like, I mean, I can't really remember a time where I was bad at interacting with adults. Just it's been so consistent. I definitely notice like other people more. Like I'm pretty judgy. I notice when other people are bad at it, and I definitely get embarrassed for them.
Yeah.
But like sometimes, I mean, they just don't know, and they didn't have this training. So if that helps.
No, that's great. I think that's great.
I would not be as good at it right now if not.
And I think
for the training,
even the way you said that, like you said like you can learn how people see you, or you can learn about, however you said that. Like even that sounded 5 to me. Like it's something you can learn about, right? Like how other people are interacting with you and how other people are understanding you. And so anyway, that struck me as like a 5 way to say that. And I've never thought about this. Like maybe it is good for a 5 to have somebody pull you out of yourself a little earlier than maybe you would have on your own.
Well, here's a good like recent example is I'm like, when I interact with people, I will be very blunt, especially if I'm like describing a need. And so, for example, there was a class that I was having issues with my learning community at school. And so I was having to email with the director of the community. And through these emails, I'm just sending what I'm going to say to my mom. And she's going to tell me how I'm not going to burn this bridge with this person. Yeah. Because I'm going to burn that bridge if I need to get it done. And this was like, an 8 or so email chain, and I would have had that done in 1, but it would not have gone over well with this person. So, that I definitely am going to be, I probably would be so much more blunt and probably meaner. I don't think I'm mean, but I would be, I could come across more mean than I would want to.
A funny thing with Becket doing this, I have to say, is he will, especially because, I do think the 5 expert thing is huge. Like they look for people who are very competent and experts, and I see Becket do that. And I work at a university, so he's going to be like, help me communicate specifically at a university, but it won't be everything he's doing. It's like, this is a world you live in. Right. So help me. He will fight me on it. So he both asks, he's like, Mom, here's what I'm going to send to this professor. And I'm like, no. Let's say something like, yes, thank you so much for your time, and I really appreciate what you've built here. And he's like, that's not me. I'm not writing that. And so he's so genuine. He's not going to lie. Yeah. He's very genuine, but he is asking me for a reason for how I should do it. But then usually his first answer is, I'm not doing that. But we get to a compromise somewhere where it still sounds like Becket, but he is not burning down the house while he does it. So I think, and that's actually, we're a really good team. Becket and I almost never, I don't think we have very many memories of fighting even throughout his childhood, like besides normal parent, child, like pick up your toy kind of things, and just not too many. There's some, of course, because we're normal people, but we are very in sync a lot. But he absolutely like asked me for advice, and the first thing he's going to actually say to me is, I'm not doing that. And then we get I do push him too far to be like too ass kissy, and he's not doing that. Yeah. So then he finds a middle ground of whatever I said. And again, I have to remind myself, I even said this to Dad the other day, honey. I'm like, why does Becket ask me for advice if he's not going to do it? And he's like, he's processing. He's actually getting to what he's going to do. And he's using you like a sounding board. And also I have some expertise, and I know Becket appreciates that. But it is kind of a funny process for he and I. And the same thing, both my kids just did all their own homework. They did everything their whole life. I was so fortunate, I guess. I didn't have to sit down at the kitchen table and wrestle through the math. And part of that was because they're both much better at math than I am. But when we were doing college applications, like any 3, I'm like, let's get it done, turn it in. And Becket is just perseverating over every single sentence to make sure it is exactly what he wants it to say. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so slow. But like, sit here with me, let's do it together. And I'm like, I can't, we need to just, So just saying, we do have a process together, but our process is very much a sparring process. And then Becket gets to whatever he's going to do. Or like, I think I do the same thing, honestly. I'll say, Becket, okay, you're a college freshman. I want to do this in my class. He's like, well, Mom, they're not going to respond to that. And I'm like, yeah, they will. What do you know? Yeah.
You don't know college freshmen like I do.
Right. That's funny. I've heard teachers say that 5s love debate. They don't necessarily love conflict, but they love debate. And I'm just hearing that a little bit here. Like, I want to figure out, I'm not just going to take your advice. I want to figure out which parts of it actually apply. Right.
My senior superlative was most likely to start an argument. So that helps. Or I think it was win. I think it was win an argument, which is significantly better.
That's a big difference. Yeah.
Significantly better.
That's funny. Okay. All right, Becket, I kind of just asked you my reflection question, which was, what do you think the best thing about your parent is, right? So Kelly, I'm going to go to you. I'm going to ask you my reflection question for parents. So let's go back. You're in the hospital with Becket. You're looking at him for the first time. You're holding him for the first time. Knowing everything you know now, what would you tell yourself in that moment, if anything?
Well, the first thing I would tell myself is yes, get an epidural every time, because no epidural with Augie and yes, epidural with Becket, and it was awesome.
My friend
Shirley from Community says it's the only way a Christian woman can properly get wrecked.
Yeah. My friend just had her first baby, and the first thing she did when she came home was tell all of us, she was like, get the epidural.
I know. I had the first one, no epidural. So, this is just parenting in general. Your first one gets all your attention and your second one gets all your expertise. And I only have 2, so that's as far as I can go with that. But like, you are terrified and terrible as a first-time parent and you just don't know what you're doing. Like, I literally could not believe the nurses let us go home with a baby that we didn't know how to take care of. And with Becket, we have the funniest, I'm going to have Jeff send you these pictures, Katie, because Jeff is just like holding Becket and Beckett's mouth is open and Jeff's like we're just happy. We're like, look at this cute kid and we know what we're doing. Let's have a kid, like Becket. This is not hyperbole. Becket was just the easiest baby and an absolute joy. And that's been his whole life. Like, I feel like I should find critiques of Becket to be more objective. And I have a really hard time finding them because he's just a great kid. And we joke about, we can't remember his first year of life, partly because our first kid was taking up a lot of space and screaming and stuff, but because he just was so chill. So I remember just being really excited that I had kind of figured this out and now I get to try it again and maybe do better and not make so many mistakes.
Right.
And then also, unbeknownst to any of us, like, Becket ended up being the best thing that ever happened to Augie. Becket showed Augie that being loved by people is something that you would want and you should pursue, and that you have a friend that's built in and a partner and somebody to, negotiate with. And it wasn't easy. Like, this is all siblings. This doesn't necessarily have to do with special needs, but somebody picks on the other one.
Right.
And it was Augie that picked on Becket a lot. and they really trained each other and helped each other, I think, along a lot in the people that they were going to be. But particularly Becket kind of showed the whole family. Like, I always called Becket the glue. He's the glue of the whole family. Like, how we stick together, how we see who the other ones are. And especially with an 8 and a 3, like, we're 2 huge balloons that just fill the whole room and like squish Becket and Jeff into the walls, But then Becket, I don't ever know how the numbers work, and I'm sorry, but if 5s go to 7 at all, that is absolutely what he does when things are hard. He's like, let's do this, let's have fun, let's do this, let's figure it out, let's play a game, we're going to do this. And so he always brought it back to, like, we don't have to keep holding our breath and have this much tension in the house. We can just move past it. We don't have to do the whole postmortem. We don't have to figure everything out. We can just do the next thing. And that has been so valuable for all of his years. And it is actually really missed having him in Michigan. Like, there is a missing piece. I'm really happy for him. I want him to be there. And particularly, I want him to be free from the obligation of the rest of the family. I want him to go be that student stage where, for lack of a better term, you just be selfish. You just go do what you want all the time. It's not bad to be selfish in this way at the student stage. We all are. Yeah. And so I don't want him to even worry about anybody else's laundry or anybody else's needs. He gets to go be free while he's there because he was so not free while he was here. But it is like, I'm like, okay, well, if we just had the person remind us to play a game when we're having a meltdown, it'd be great right now.
We need to call Becket. Yeah.
Yeah, Becket, tell us what to do.
I think that's great. Okay, so. Becket, I am actually going to ask you one more question. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm going to switch it from. So I asked you, what do you think your mom's best parenting skill was with you, right? And I'm going to switch it to now as this last question. What do you think the best thing about your mom is, just as a person? If it's different, if it's not different, you can
super
say
sweet looks, 23 years old, doctor of like everything, could teach any class ever.
See, he's trained up, Katie.
He is. Did you say she got her doctor's at 23?
No, I don't have a
She got
doctorate.
4 doctors at 23.
Got it. Okay, I want to make sure I wasn't like laughing and then that was actually true.
Becket knows how to make the glow.
Probably just the way she like is able to keep so many friends and have so many like connections. It's very strong, and it definitely helps me because I just can latch on, and now I have all these connections too. For like when we're working on my college applications, she knows somebody who can help. You know, we need. Yeah, I just have such a strong network, and that I can latch on from her because she has built such a strong network. Like if I ever needed help, like researching something, you know, I would probably contact her to figure out somebody who I could use her good graces that she's built up to learn about it, as opposed to me having to like find somebody and build up those same graces, you know? So just her network and her ability to connect with people.
I think it's sweet for a 5 to say that, because I have heard from other 5s who are a little older than you, but they'll say like, I do sometimes struggle to connect with people and like hold this big network of people. Like that is something that's hard for me. And so I think it's sweet that you say that. Lovely. Thank you both for being here so much. It was great. Thank you both.
It was fun to do. Yeah. Thank you, Katie.
Hey friends, it's Jeff. We're getting to interview some of the most intriguing people in the Enneagram world. There are already 20 plus interviews up at aroundthecircle.org, and we're continuing to add more. That site is where we're gathering and platforming all of our best work. Much of it is available for free. Katie Whitlock and I have been doing deep studies working through wings, stance, fear, anger, and shame in our Rewired series. I'm beginning to release chapters from my next Enneagram book, which I'm calling The Steps, for early review for your consideration. And we have monthly online workshops in which 30 or so folks gather to talk about their type. There's audiobooks, there's videos, there's lots of fun stuff, lots to like. Go to aroundthecircle.org, and may all good things be yours.